Battlefield 1's multiplayer overall has been received rather well by gamers on a whole, including myself, but there are a few issues, as you can quite clearly see on screen. I shall explain in some detail. Obviously this is a bug, this is just the let's get stuck on terrain and dance around like a twat bug. Yeah, that was very fun. There are many other issues, like the general being stuck on terrain as a whole. Like, for example, you see a little bit of terrain, you think I can climb that and get a little position or flank someone by climbing that. But, of course, chances are you can't climb it and you're going to be stood there and get shot in the back. Which is always fun. I must point out that overall this game, if you include the campaign as well, is a pretty high scoring game. If 5 out of 10 is average and recommended game to go by to even a 5, I would give it a 7, but unfortunately due to the recent expansion and DLC it's been bumped down to a 6. Now obviously this doesn't make much of a difference in the overall scheme of things because I'm just a random person on the internet and I don't even do reviews. That's just my own personal score of it when talking to the community about how I feel about the game. But unfortunately, like I said, it's been dropped down recently due to that season pass, and why does it take developers and publishers so long to realise that splitting your community is not a good idea? Especially when overall the general feeling from the standard version of Battlefield 1 is that there is a lot of content missing when it comes to the multiplayer. Yes, there are 5 or 6 maps I think it is on standard. That's not so bad because the maps are quite big and some of them are quite good apart from Sugah. We'll mention more about that later. But splitting the community with this season pass is utter stupidity, it's annoying and it causes other problems. So as you might be able to see by some of these clips, there's a particular gun that I like to use, the light machine gun 15NA or whatever the hell it's called, I always forget the names of these things. Yeah, it's quite an overpowered gun, but the problem is now, because of the season pass bringing the whole They Shall Not Pass part of DLC out, that means the sure shot. Yes, the sure shot, pretty much considered now to be the most powerful gun in its class. And I can't have it. But on screen, if you look at the game, it still puts it there. Here's the challenges you have to do for it, and I've tried doing the challenges like a dumbass. Trust me, I tried. I can't unlock the gun, I can't use it, I get shot by it, and it's just... It does look like a pretty good gun, and I can't have it because I don't want to pay extra money. And this brings back to the whole point of the standard version not feeling as much content as it should be. Yes, I feel like I've got my money's worth out of it for my £50 or so. I feel like I've got my money off the campaign and a little bit of multiplayer. But quite frankly, you can't help but feel that if there wasn't a season pass, there would be a lot more content for everybody. And I don't get this, especially if you look at the classes, which I actually forgot to record, but anyone that's played it knows this is true. You get 3 types of every gun, which are basically just the same gun with a different attachment or something like that, like a telescopic sight on it or something like that. So there are 3 types of each gun, and overall there aren't actually many, especially if you want to stick to 1 or 2 classes, there isn't that much to do. Plus when it comes to the online multiplayer, one of the big issues is you see the same guns over and over again. If you come up against an assault class player, they're going to be using the Hellriegger, or whatever the hell you pronounce it. If you come up against Sniper, it's Martini Henry, but that's been nerfed a little bit since, so that's not so bad, but there's still problems. There's twats like me who use the LMG-NA, that thing, and yeah, it does become irritating. You bump into the same guns over and over, and to do more powerful guns in the DLC, which most people aren't going to get, is shitty. Because it's basically saying, oh, you want to be competitive? Oh, pay money. And that's the sort of point where I have to say, right, I have to deduct a little bit more off your final score because this is ridiculous. And that's pretty much what prompted this episode. Yes, there are problems with Battlefield, as I'm going to carry on explaining, but compared to the DLC bullshit, it's just enough to anger me enough to get my equipment set up and have a rant. So yes, you can thank the season pass for this. Now, one of the other biggest problems in the game, especially just from anybody's perspective when it comes to the multiplayer, is the goddamn medics. There are so many matches these days where I play a match and we get to the end final score screen where it shows the best scores from different types of players, and you'll get the medic score of revives, how many people have been revived from death and brought back to life. And many a times it's been over 100 for some medics. 100 players revived in one match of Conquest, which can last up to around 30 minutes. That's a bit ridiculous, don't you think? I mean, just that clearly indicates that most of their time in those matches is dedicated to just following people around, wait till they die, revive them. And that's supposed to add to the fun, is it? Yeah, I don't see how it does, really, quite frankly. I mean, I am overall quite a new player to the Battlefield series. I've played Battlefield 4, I never played the multiplayer of it, I must mention. But so far, from my experience, it's been quite good. I've enjoyed the terrain deformation, the damage to the terrain. It's always fun being able to destroy buildings and sniper points, stuff like that. It's always very fun. But it's not all there. It really isn't. Getting stuck on terrain, like I've already mentioned, the tanks, because at the end of the day, when it comes to these matches, it turns out who's got the best players on the team, which is quite obvious, because it's not a twitch shooter per se, it's more of a tactics shooter. There aren't that many tactics to it, unfortunately, from what I've seen, mainly due to the limited amount of guns, just to the placement of some of the checkpoints, some of the capture points. It really limits the playability. But there are just other general ease of life things in the game that are just irritating as fuck. So for example, every time you die you have to respawn. To get back to the menu you have to hold X or spacebar if you're on PC and etc. What the fuck? Well, why? You just want to piss me off? Because you're doing a good job. Oh, another thing I've forgotten. Can you tell I'm reading off of the list? I actually wrote a list down because there were so many I was just sat up there, I was playing the game and I was like, there's so many things that annoy me about this game. And I had to actually write a list, and that says something for me. I'm ultra fucking lazy. Light tank. This is actually what I've written. Overpowered little twats. Yes, the little light tanks, the single seaters. They are fucking annoying. They're really overpowered. Unless you've got a couple of friends on your side with you to tackle it at the same time, you are not going to defeat it. It's going to blow you up and it's going to just make you angry. So that's fun. And speaking of armoured vehicles, let's mention the armoured truck. You know the players. You know the ones who sit on the hill far away so you can't get near them, you can't sneak up on them, and they shoot you from miles away, and they just sit there and rank up a load of fucking kills. Trust me, I have friends who have done it and used that tactic from time to time, and I'm not proud of it. I never do it myself. They can do it if they want. Well, it's not in the ethos of it, really, is it? Another small mention I should mention: Team Deathmatch, or is it just called Deathmatch in the game? I forget. Deathmatch, it simply just reminds me, gives me flashbacks of Call of Duty Online, and quite frankly, I don't want that, thank you. And one other thing I probably should mention about the players, especially on Conquest, when you end up with a team that is just a little bit, shall we say, naive, stupid. For example, you start off on a match of Conquest, you start off at your base, you all run to the first checkpoint, 99% of the fucking soldiers stay at that checkpoint, while you're the only one smart enough to realise that the battle line is at a certain point, normally in between C and D sort of area, depending on the maps. So the best tactic is to push as far forward as you can in the greatest numbers and just leave one or two back to try and, well, there's no real challenge for them, they just need one or two players at the closest ones to your main base to take those checkpoints whilst you go forward and fight the battle and get the jump start on the opposite team. But that rarely ever happens. Because all you need is a team that has remote tactics, that have a remote sense of what's going on the battle to win. You draw a battle line somewhere in the centre, you keep defending your objectives, and you try and get in behind the enemy and close them in from both sides. It's very simple. It's one of the reasons why, as I mentioned earlier, the map Sugah is. The map where it's a straight line, it's worse than Argonne Forest, way worse. It's why the patch that already wants to change the map, but this still not worked. Every time I play a match on Sugah, it always ends up being a whitewash. It ends up being an absolute stomper of a match. One side just walks away with it, and the other side just rage quits and leaves to save their stats a bit of shame, I suppose. And it's not fun, because the match is over in minutes. And that's kind of, I don't know what they're expecting. I was expecting, quite frankly from my side, I was expecting coming into the multiplayer of Battlefield 1 for the players to know remotely, at least half of the players to know what the fuck they're doing. But apparently not. I mean, to be fair, the campaign of the game is actually quite good of giving you instructions of what to do. Take this checkpoint, then move to this. It gives you the basics. But it never actually spells out the actual tactics when it comes to modes like Conquest or multiplayer. And really, it probably should. Because it does mean, of course, if you're working with a team that actually know what the fuck they're doing or are being led by someone that does, you're going to have a great advantage and you're probably going to win a lot of matches. But unfortunately, when playing with randomers, it's pretty much the majority of the time you're going to end up with people that don't know what they're doing and just sit at the fucking checkpoint and going la 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 la, I'll sit at the closest one, la, 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 while watching the bars all on the top of the screen just get taken by the opposite team. You know. It's still a good game. At the end of this video I will just say it's still a good game, I can still have fun with it, but at this time it's kind of pushing me away from wanting to play it and looking for a different game to take my time. Just because I don't feel like I'm competitive as I used to be, obviously because I'm not now using the most powerful gun in my class because I can't have it because I'm not paying extra money. I don't feel like I had enough weapons from the standard version of the game, quite frankly, to give you any more money. If you want to base this model on someone else, look at the way I approached Project Cars. When I approached that game I paid full price and then I bought all the DLC afterwards. Here's why. Because the DLC was well priced, good quality, and they give me enough content on the base version of the game to make me feel like I've not been ripped off in something. Like something's not been denied from me because they want extra money on top. And that's kind of a deal breaker when it comes to video games. And just because you're kind of the king of the pile on the console first person shooter area of DICE doesn't mean you can just willy-nilly become Call of Duty. No one wants that. Well, there are millions of Call of Duty players, but no one wants to talk to them. So, that was a really nice rant. I actually enjoyed that. It felt really nice. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. For now, goodbye.